possibly be. So we are happy to have our staff with us. Some of them will be here now and some will join us later. But I'd like to just go through our staff introductions. We have Carrie Dank, who is our new executive director. He'll be joining us a little bit later. And I'm Sandy Hillman. I'm the director here of the Early College Program. Kate Kaufman is the director of EWIN. She'll join us later. Jeremy Eltz is the director of Rural Education. And we have a brand new cellmate, and Laura Tucker is our new Early College Coordinator. We're thrilled to have her join us. This is day 3 for Laura. And we have Janet Boyle, who's the director of the Rural Education Early College Network. And we have Kylie Gerlach, Director of Operations. Trish Ladarzik is our Director of Strategic Initiatives, and she'll be joining us later to talk about STEM Teach and an exciting new program. And we have Daisy Brown, our Administrative Assistant, and Crystal Cater, who is the Coordinator of Special Projects for CEL. So before we go any farther, if you would all rename your slide, the 3 little dots up in the right-hand corner of your picture, click on that and put your name and your school, if you could, or your institution. Okay, for today, we will give you some updates, start out with updates on our rural Early College Network. Then we are so excited to be able to showcase 2 of our newly endorsed schools. Whitewater Career Center and Hobart University High School will be presenting, and we know you're going to get great new ideas from them. Then we have some special, a special broadcast from Carrie Dank and from Trish. And then Kate Kaufman, our Director of Educational Workforce Initiatives, will be talking about college and career readiness during the time of COVID. If we have time, we will have some, just a little quick breakout room to gather up input for future meetings. And then we will close out the day. And we're going to shoot to be done at 12 o'clock. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Janet Boyle. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And we have been, Janet, if you want to get your screen up there, we have been busy working on our early college initiative. And I thought everyone would just like a real quick update on what it is and what's happening and why it's important.
All right, thank you, Sandy, and I want to add my welcome to yours to everybody. It's great to see so many faces on our Zoom today. About this time last year, CEL was very fortunate to be awarded a federal EIR grant, an Education, Innovation, and Research grant. And this project is for 5 years, and we received $7.9 million to start a rural early college network, which we fondly call RECON. To give you a little visual of what RECON entails, there will be 20 schools total involved by year 3. And last year was our first year, very short year. We started in January approximately, and then COVID happened, as you all know, but we kept going as best we could. But last year we started with 5 what we call mentor schools, and those are 5 endorsed rural early college high schools, and with 5 tier 1 or 5 mentee schools. And those are other rural high schools that are around the state, and each mentor has 1 tier 1 school as a partner. This year we're adding 5 more, what we call tier 2 schools, and so the mentor now has 2 partners. And then next year we will be adding the last 5 schools. We're doing an application process for that in October. And if any of you are interested in that, just shoot me an email or write me a note here in the chat. This is a list of the current schools in the project. You can see on the left are the 5 mentor schools, and we're very proud of them and what they continue to accomplish. And then you can see our tier 1 in red and our tier 2 schools in green and who their partners are. This is a map of where everybody is located, and again, we'll add 5 more schools to this on the map, and you can see we've got some areas of the state that we would like to pop some people in there if they are interested and apply. So we have 3 major project goals, and there's lots of sub goals under each of these, but foremost, since this is early college, is we're trying to increase students' college readiness and their post-secondary enrollments. But a lot of things are entailed with that, including the whole process of early college and becoming endorsed and having significant numbers of students either accomplish that statewide transfer gen ed core and or additional dual credits beyond that. We also are trying to emphasize career readiness and opportunities for kids with an emphasis on work-based learning. And some of our endorsed schools are wanting to add the early college technical endorsement to their portfolio. And last, we're trying to increase efficiencies and build capacity. We want to keep this project going beyond our 5 years. We want to add more schools. We want to go for a third round of funding that would be available to us at that time. And we're also trying to figure out ways to do things better in terms of early college in general. So how does this potentially impact all of you? Well, this project is trying to help us figure out how much does it really cost a school to implement an early college program that makes it to endorsement. And we've never had a good number on that. And so the schools involved in this project do receive some funding for their work in the project. And so we're keeping track of what do they spend their money on. And mostly, and you're not going to be surprised with this, it's going to teacher credentialing, either in terms of stipends or paying for tuition for the teachers. But that's going to help us with our last item at the bottom of this page. We're also trying to figure out how can we accelerate how long it takes a school to go from the initial training to endorsement. So we're trying to hurry that up, and we're theorizing that if a school has a mentor to help them as well as targeted coaching from SEL, that it can go much faster. In addition, we hope to improve our professional development and training in general on early college. And we also are trying to generate lots of new ideas that we can turn around and use with all of the early college network. And last, we're going to try to be even better advocates with the legislators and other funders in terms of early college, so other schools around the state can benefit from the additional funding, which is really helping our schools. So that's just a bird's eye view of our Reckon project, and I can talk about it all day, but Sandy told me I had 5 minutes. So thanks, Sandy, and thanks to everybody, and welcome.
Okay, Janet, thank you very much. Let me get my screen back up here. It's very exciting, the work that's going on with Reckon, and we are just thrilled to have the involvement that we have and leadership that we're seeing, and it's exciting time. So we just reckon it'll be a good year for us. So alrighty. So I would like to just give a big shout out to our 4 new endorsed schools. And we have Hobart University High School and home of the Brickies. And then we also have Tribe University, and that is Mississinawa High School. And if you're driving up near Mississinawa area, they've got a great billboard promoting early college, and I think we've got a link to it on our webpage, so check that out. And then very happy to have a suburban Indianapolis school, Perry Meridian High School, the Falcons, and they have a school within a school early college, so we're thrilled about that. And then last but not least, we have a newly endorsed career center, and that is Whitewater Career Center, which is located in Connorsville. And you'll be hearing from them in just a minute. So, and then we have 2 of our longevity early colleges, Belmont High School and Ben Davis University High School, were both re-endorsed. Actually for the, I believe, 3rd time. So congratulations to all these schools. They've done great work, continue to do great work, and we certainly have a lot that we can learn from them. All righty. So at this time, I would like to have Sony get her screen ready to share. And Sonny Jones is the Assistant Director at Whitewater Career Center, and she'll be presenting their program. And you can see a list of all of their team members, and I think most of them will be able to join us today, including their higher ed partner, Melissa Kircher-Smith. So let me stop sharing here. And Sonny, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, share your screen and.
Okay, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I knew this wasn't gonna work.
It's okay.
Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. I want to share. There we go.
Yes.
There we go. Does that look right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We're very happy to be able to present to you today and to share our story of how we became an early college career center. And there's a list of our team members again, and we have a great team. And oftentimes, you know, I tell the story, but really it's all the hard work of the team that makes this a success. So I want to thank them. And also the team from Cell, they've always been very encouraging to us. And so we really do appreciate that. I'm going to do a quick overview of Whitewater. We are located in Fayette County. We're a rural career center. We are relatively small, and we're a standalone facility. We do share a campus with Connersville High School, which is an early college high school, which is very beneficial to us. They're a great partner. And we have a 3-building facility that's really well equipped, and we have a very talented staff. And you'll be hearing from some of our teachers here as we go along. We have 14 programs. We were able to add a program this year, criminal justice, which has become an early college program for us. So we're excited about that. Our enrollment is up this year. We were well over 600 before COVID hit, and we lost a little ground there, but we still have shown a trend of 3 years of growth. So we're very excited about that. Here are our partner schools that make up Whitewater Career Center. We have 6. 4 of them are county-wide schools: Rush, Union, Franklin, Fayette, which is Connersville High School, and then 2 schools in Wayne County, Lincoln and Centerville. We have juniors and seniors mostly that attend the Career Center for 3 hours a day. That's a traditional model for career centers. But we do also have a program called Access. I don't even remember what it stands for, but it is for 10th graders to attend the Career Center early and then participate in work-based learning their 3rd year. So that's something that we've started in the last 3 years. And several of our schools do send 10th graders to us, and that's been really successful for us. So that's a quick overview of Whitewater, and our story for early college really sort of begins back in 2017-18 when you know, Phil Badel, who's our welding teacher, and he's with us today, he also teaches on the Richmond Ivy Tech campus, and we were talking about courses and his involvement on the Richmond campus, and we were ready sooner than we really thought to have graduates and earn certificates in welding. So Phil, you want to jump in and talk a little bit about your program?
Sure, Sonny, I can do that for you. When we started this, we had always worked with Ivy Tech very closely as partners, and we had quite a few dual credits already. But we didn't have enough dual credits to get that certificate. And through collaboration with our local campus of Ivy Tech, with Richmond campus, and through a lot of hard work in maintaining the certifications that we get through the American Welding Society and comparing what Ivy Tech does to what we do, we realized that really the curriculum that we had only needed a few little minor tweaks, and we could get these students their structural welding certification or certificate from Ivy Tech. So we made those tweaks. We continued to work with them. And that first year, when Sonny and I were working with it, she said, I really need one student. And I said, well, it's likely I'll have a few more. And by the end, we had 6 of them that qualified to get this certificate. That surprised us all from the beginning. We were hoping to get 1 or 2, but these 6 students really stepped up. They were excited about it. They were encouraged. I think the fact that that they could get a college certificate upon graduating high school really made them work harder to get that, to earn those credits. And it was really a benefit to these students. So we were really glad that we were able to do that. And while our numbers are way higher than that in the classes that graduate, you know, we hold these credits as a premium, and our students have to earn them. They are definitely not given by any means. So we really try to make sure that all of our students have the opportunity to earn these certificates from Ivy Tech.
Thanks, Phil. And you can see some of them have gold cords, so we have honor students among those 6 as well. These are our original 3 programs that we're able to offer certificates through Ivy Tech. And we really appreciate our Ivy Tech partners. They have been great to work with us. And so we were able to offer certificates in automotive technology, precision machine technology, and then welding. You've heard from Phil. Brad, are you there? You want to talk a little bit about your program?
Hi there. Sorry, I just joined. Are you talking about Bradley Smith? Is that who you're talking to?
I'm talking about Brad Beaver.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Okay, Rick, are you there to talk about precision machining?
Yes, I'm here, Sonny.
Okay.
I've been teaching 21 years, and when this idea came up of early college, it had a lot of benefits, not just to my students, but myself. I'm winding down my career, and it gave me reinvigorating me with education, getting the kids excited again about learning. The other advantage to going early college, we had 21 credits, but there's 2 classes that we couldn't offer unless we were an early college career center. So since we've became an early college career center, we've added CNC programming for the lathe and CNC mill programming. We already taught that, but we weren't eligible to offer those credits to students. And my students last year, they were real excited to be able to walk at Ivy Tech's graduation, but with COVID, it just didn't happen. And I had students emailing me, Mr. Beaver, are we going to get to do this? They were so excited, not just for the credits, but the chance to walk at a college graduation. It's just been a win-win for the Career Center, for my students, and, you know, for myself. It's really helped out my employers too, because all my employers I deal with, they send their students to Ivy Tech for their apprenticeship program. Well, this is 2 less college classes they have to pay for. And students now, instead of finishing their apprenticeship at 22 to 23 years old, they're finishing at 21 because they can work longer because they're taking less college classes, and they're bumping their pay up 1 to 2 years earlier. So it's been a win-win for everyone.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
We have great business partnerships too. Rick mentioned that. And so these were the 3 programs that really offered the most credit and were most aligned and were ready to go. So it's been a good experience for those 3. This is what we projected for 2020. We projected pretty well for auto tech with maintenance and light repair. Like Rick said, we weren't able to finish those last classes that we needed. Students were going on and they'll finish them in their apprenticeship program. So we didn't have any graduates in machine tool technology, but then we had 2 that finished in welding. And again, Phil mentioned how difficult sometimes it is for students to get through all of the certifications that are required to get those dual credits. So that was 2020. Since endorsement, we've added two more programs. So now we're up to 5. Health science, okay, so this is a short-term one, but we're going to count it. A certificate in dementia care. So that brings in health science. We're going to continue to work on the patient care technology one, but this is one we can count now as a program. And then criminal justice. Vincennes works a little bit differently. This is considered an early college program instead of Project Excel. So we've been working with Vincennes very closely on getting this program up and going, and they've been great. It's a new program, a new instructor, it's new to early college, so we've got a lot of work to do there, but we're moving along. So we've added those 2 programs, and that's very exciting for us because that grows our team. That adds more people, more staff embracing early college. These are our projections for 2021, many more students. So we're excited about this. Now, not all of them will make it because, again, there are some certifications and endorsements and some projects they have to complete at the end that some students may not get there, but we do enroll all students. So all students join early college, and then we do our best to get them through all of the credits. Most will do it, some will not, but that's the way that the programs are structured. You'll see law enforcement, we will not have any graduates this year because of, they're all first-year students, and it takes 2 years. It takes 2 years in all of our programs. So these are our initiatives for 2021. That's where we've been. Now this is where we hope to go. We need to work on data collection analysis. That's a big one for us, and we've done some things to try to help that. We've adjusted our enrollment application form to collect information. We gathered information from our students when we have them here, which helps us with follow-up. But our teachers really build relationships with the students. They're with them for 2 years, three hours a day. So they're really good at doing follow-up on students. So we really just need to pull all of that together. We also look to expand. We've been looking at the education area, and then of course patient care technician, I already talked about that, and culinarian. We work with Muncie Ivy Tech on that one, so we hope to do something there. And then continue to explore the technical certificates, because right now we just do the certificate level. So we want to see if we can expand on that. Looking to, of course, always expand our business partners. Beth Schenk is on our team, and she's with us here today too. And she does a lot with as work-based learning coordinator to expand our business partnerships. We always talk about early college when we go out, so we'll continue to do that. We need to work on academic courses, and a lot of that is partnering with our high schools. Connersville High School is an early college high school. Franklin County is seeking endorsement as a Reckon school, and so they're going to be great partners with us. And the highlighted classes there was student success, quantitative reasoning, and communication. We think we have a good plan for actually offering those through the Career Center. So that'll be something new for us as well. But so we're going to work on academic classes to lead us more toward technical certificates. And then we do a lot of recruiting. We do a lot of marketing and recruiting, and that's another thing that we need to do, especially with our targeted audience, our targeted student group. So these are some things that we have done, and we're going to continue to do these and expand on these. But this is a postcard front and back that are customized for each of our high schools. This one is specific to Union County. And we want to show their students working at the Career Center. And we send these to our sophomore pool of students every year before they come into the Career Center. But we have multiple contacts with students beginning in elementary. And we start talking about college and the concept of college credit and what they can do even in elementary. And of course, you know, that's a more basic message, and then the message becomes more defined and more clear as we move up through middle school. We do Camp Invention with elementary. We have an exploration video that's on our website for elementary students. Then we do the Career Exploration Academy and middle school tours for middle school students. And then we move into 10th grade presentation and tours. And that's typical of most, at least the middle school and 10th graders, that's typical of most career centers. This year, because of COVID, we're not sure we're going to be able to get into the schools and have them come here for tours. So we are going to produce individual program videos and an overall video of the Career Center. And I was talking with Connersville High School yesterday, and their radio and television program is also doing a video about the Career Center. So that's going to really help us. We're going to use that all we can too, and help us recruit with not only Connersville, but all of our schools. So I'm not sure what recruiting is really going to look like. We're going to have to think outside the box to reach our students. But I think we're going to start with doing some videos that we can push into the classrooms.
Sadi,
Yes.
could you talk a little bit about your summer camp that you have done? And you probably weren't able to do it this past summer, but
We were not, unfortunately. This would have been the third year for us. We usually get a grant. It's part of Perkins that we use to do summer expansion. And so we bring in incoming 7th and 8th graders. We work with the counselors to identify those students, much like the targeted students for early college, to come to the Career Center and spend a week with us. They spent, the first year we ran mornings, the second year we ran afternoons, which works better for those students who may have to go to summer school or want to get ahead on their credits or have camps. So I think we'll keep it in the afternoon, but they went through all of the programs. They spent 2 hours in, see how many programs did we have? We did 8, I think, 8 programs. So they spent 2 hours in each of the programs doing a project. So they got a lot of hands-on experience. For example, in like Phil's program, they actually welded a plant hanger that was customized with their name, their last name. So the teachers, our Career Center staff came in and led these sessions. We also took them out on an industry tour, and they went through the entire Career Center, even the programs that weren't involved in the summer exploration. We had 45, I think it was 45 students in 2019 participate. And we have very good reviews from that, from the counselors, the students. It's really a good program. So I definitely want to continue that. We've tracked students because now they're old enough to be at the Career Center. And we had, I can't remember the exact percentage, but we had a large percentage of those who participate actually enroll at the Career Center. So it's been a good recruiting tool for us as well.
thank you.
You're welcome. These are our school-based enterprises. These are a real draw for our students. Our teachers do a great job of actually running these school-based enterprises just like industry. You know, we have a salon, we have a restaurant, we do computer and device repair, auto service and diesel repair. We have graphic design services, machine services, welding, all of these things. This year, we started it last year, we're actually renovating a home in Connersville and flipping it. Then we'll get another house, and that's our construction and electricity programs. So everything is really designed around simulating actual industry experiences. these are some more of the marketing tools we use, the documents. Everything that you see, we do in-house. All of our videos will be in-house that we do through our graphic design program and our students. This is a more of an adult piece that we use. It's a snapshot of the Career Center every year. This was just produced, so this is brand new. But we use this with meetings and business partners and with parents. This is just a one-page document that kind of summarizes everything. But you'll see our highlight for this year is us becoming an early college career center. And then this is our parent newsletter that's going to go out probably in October. It'll be 2 pages. That'll be an email push. This is a draft. It's not finished, but I'm working on that. But just to show where we're going with that. We have these for all 14 programs. These are what we call one-page flyers, front and back, but they also highlight the Career Center programs, the credits that they earned, and the certifications that all of those credits lead to. So we have these, and these are student pieces that we use for recruiting when they're here for tours and for the open house, and then we also push them out to the high schools as well. These are posters that are in all of our program areas as well. What you can learn, or what you can earn, and what you can, wait a minute, let me back up. What you can earn, there we go. First year and second year for each of the programs and the certifications and what it leads to as far as early college is concerned. So those are posters. These are hot off the press. These were printed yesterday. We print these. We have it on all of our digital media and in the classrooms to keep it in front of them. This is the goal. This is where we're headed. We're headed toward graduation. And then we have a big social media presence. Matt Davis, who is on our team, coordinates that. We do Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and he tries to post. It's been a little bit different getting started this year. It's been a little hectic, but he tries to post every day. So we get something out there to our audience every day. And then we also have a website that's very rich with information. We try to put a lot of stuff out there. And I'm going to switch screens here and share what the front page of our website looks like now with the early college logo. So we're going to continue to add some information. I'm working on some copy right now to add early college information more to our website. So that's where we're headed. So, you know, we're going to continue to look at the programs we can enhance and lead towards certification and bring more programs in, grow our staff as far as bringing them into the team, and keep pushing. That's where we are. Anybody have any questions?
I would just say, having been to Whitewater Career Center for the endorsement visit, their marketing of their program is just beyond belief. I mean, it just is so extensive. You see the little color theme that goes through everything, the little logo with the W with the water beneath it. And it is there, and among the students there's just a real can-do feeling. You know, their staff believes in them and they're working toward those goals. And any of you early colleges out there that send students from your high school to a career center, you know, that piece that Sonny mentioned of working toward technical certificates, that's really a big piece, because sometimes the career center students may not have English as their favorite subject. And that may be the roadblock that would keep them from getting a technical certificate or an associate's degree.
Right.
So if they can get that English class at their home high school for dual credit and check that off the list,
Right.
that's huge. And I know, Sonny, you plan to work on that with some of your city schools.
Yeah, that English class, that's a key to most of the technical certificates, that and a communication class. So we're working on that and the different options that we have with our schools. So that'll be a big push for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do have questions, if you'd like to put them in the chat box, that would be great. Sonny, can you tell us just real quick? I mean, there is this field of solar panels right next to your school, and I'm like, what is this? So can you talk about that a little bit?
I can. That solar field is designed to eventually power the Connersville campus is Connersville High School, the Career Center, and then we also have maintenance and transportation and our central office. So all of those buildings are located on this campus, and the goal is for that solar field to eventually power our entire campus. And that was done through a grant that the corporation received, Fayette County School Corporation received to install that solar field. Randy Judd is on here as well. He is the principal of Connersville High School. Randy, do you have more information about the solar field? I know that it's going to be paid for in 20 years. So in 20 years, and we've had it for a couple now. So in 20 years, all the power will be free.
I would say right now we're producing about 50 to 60% of our power. There is plans for adding another field
Yes.
so that we can increase our production. But as of now, as long as the sun's shining, we're doing very well.
Yeah, we've had some good days here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to, while Randy's on here, I do want to thank him too, because he and his staff and his counselors, they've been great partners with us, and we couldn't do what we do without them. They are great. So thank you, Randy.
It's our pleasure. And Sandy, you are correct. Their marketing of their school and now their early college program is simply amazing, and I'm always jealous.
I do want to say too, though, that we put most of this stuff out on the website so you can see it, but we share everything that we produce. So if anyone wants any copies of what we do, I can send those to you in files, and you can take them and, you know, cut and paste and do whatever you want. And we're happy to share everything we do.
Yeah, and I think the concept of the summer camp, be it for a career center or just for an academic program, there's power in that.
Yes.
And just like, you know, as high school people, you want to get your early college students onto a college campus. So it goes with the 7th and 8th graders. They need to see a picture of what they can do,
Yes.
you know, in their future. So
Yeah.
it's a great team there at Connersville. I know Beth Shank does some great work with work-based learning, and Ivy Tech Richmond is your super
Yes,
partner.
they are. They are. We're very blessed to have the staff and the team and the extended team that we have.
So, any questions for Sonny and her crew? Okay, well, again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sonny, if you'll click off your screen and let me get my screen back up. We so appreciate Connersville Early College and their support for Whitewater Career Center and the partnership that you guys have and the wonderful things that the Career Center is doing for students. So, okay, let me get my screen back up here. All righty. So we're going to move on. And this year, we just recently have a new executive director, Kerry Dank, and he is coming to us from a broad background of public school teaching and principaling, and then also background from the charter school world. So we are thrilled to have him here, and he's going to give us just a little brief background about his vision for early college through SEL. So I'll stop sharing, and Carrie, if you can get your screen ready to go, that would be awesome.
Let's see if I can do this correctly. Am I sharing now?
Yep, we
Okay.
see it.
All right, excellent. The hold on here. Try to get this.
You can go to present mode or
Yeah, I was trying to make sure I had the right screen showing. Well, I'm glad to be here, and I have been an admirer of Sel's work, Sandy's work, and all the work that has gone on with early college. We were a school that believed pretty wholeheartedly that early college programming was a way in which we were going to make a substantial difference in the students that we were serving. And I wanted to spend this little bit of time kind of talking about why I think early college matters. And I'll run through that real fast here. So we know that according to labor statistics, that new job growth is going to be about 2 times more likely to require some type of post-secondary credential. And so we also know that according to statistics that have been gathered during economic downturns, that the likelihood of an individual becoming unemployed is unequal. So that if you are a high school graduate in 2011, as an example, your unemployment rate was 9.4%, but if you were a college graduate, it was only 4.3%. We also know that if you are involved in some kind of a dual credit program, according to data that was coming out of Kentucky just last month, that your chance of earning a 3.0 GPA in college was 60% versus 50.8% if you had no dual credit experience. So you were 9.2 times or percent more likely to be successful during that first year, which we know is sort of the critical time which when a student makes that transition from secondary school into a collegiate environment. We also know that if you are involved in an early college high school program, that you are 5 to 7 times more likely to complete your post-secondary credential. So when thinking about who's not involved in some type of, I would call it a college acceleration program, I have a little infographic here on the screen that shows that if you are an African American student, you are 55% of those graduates had no dual credit, no AP, or no IB experience when they entered college. 45% of the Hispanic students had 0, compared to 29 or 22% of the white and Asian students. And so there's a disproportionate representation. If you look at low-income students, only 37% of low-income students had a dual credit or dual enrollment background at the time of enrollment in post-secondary school. So, my maybe challenge or my commentary around this is, well, how can early college work to alter outcomes for students or for communities that you serve? We know that if we apply education equally, students are going to fall on the bell curve sort of pretty nicely, and everyone sort of stays in their place. But I think the challenge or the opportunity here is if we can think about early college as being a tool to alter outcomes for students that are, at least statistically, most likely to fail or experience trouble, then we can work to ensure that our low-income students from challenging backgrounds have opportunities for dual enrollment opportunities, that our Black and brown children have opportunities to be involved in college preparation programs, and that if those students are involved in early college, they become 5 to 7 times more likely to complete their post-secondary endeavor. We also know that they're 9.2% more likely to have a successful first year in college, and that when there's an economic downturn, they're less likely to become unemployed, and they're going to be ready to take on the new opportunities that exist with job entry points. So for all of those reasons, I think there's an opportunity for us to think about early college as being a tool that we use to change outcomes for students in our schools and communities. So I would challenge everyone to make sure that we're thinking about this not just as an opportunity to take kids and sort of continue to plot them on the existing path, but to help them to find a path that puts them on a point at which they have a statistical advantage that if they had not been involved in early college programming. So I told Sandy to keep it quick. So
that was nice and quick. So we know that hopefully hearing that will give you some inspiration to tuck away for those times that, you know, with all the challenges everyone's facing right now and wondering, does it make a difference? You know, are we really making progress when we're taking 3 steps backwards with where we are right now in education? And hopefully that'll give you some inspiration to keep going. And Cell certainly, with Carrie's leadership and inspiration, will continue to venture forward and provide you with resources and support that you need. So,
Yeah.
so Carrie, yeah.
I'd just say that, you know, as we get rolling and, you know, hopefully as the world gets back to something a little more normal, you know, I do hope to come with Sandy and visit your schools. And I'm interested in learning about all the good work you're doing. And if I can do anything for any of you, you should feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, and we're looking forward to the time, just like teachers want to get their students in front of them to be able to interact with them. We're looking forward to that time when we can get back out there again. So, and we're starting to do some out in the field visits. So, okay, so we have our next presenter. Trish, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Trish Ladarzik, who has been working at CEL for several years on various initiatives. STEM Teach is probably the one you know her the most by, but she's got some good news to talk to you about today. So Trish.
Good morning, everyone. Sure, I just have a couple announcements, and you know, always like to talk about STEM Teach to early college people. For STEM Teach, you know, teachers who still need to meet those dual credit credentialing requirements, they can still sign up to take graduate courses through STEM Teach. So for the winter and the spring semester, we're taking applications now through October 30th. That's just simply filling out their teacher information, their license number, etc. And then we'll be offering, you know, courses from a variety of higher education institutions across Indiana. And those content areas for STEM Teach are psychology, biology, chemistry, math, physics, and then IT or computer science. So we have space available. If you have teachers that need credentialing in those STEM fields, please just send them to our website, stemteachindiana.org, or you can email me for more information, and I'll just put my email address in the chat. And then we're also really excited that we will be able to soon formally announce a sister program for STEM Teach, and it's called Teach Dual Credit Indiana. So this is not a formal announcement, and I can't give you a lot of detail right now, but I think you might be interested to hear that this program will also allow teachers to meet those dual credit, that's a mouthful, dual credit credentialing requirements, but in the non-STEM or liberal arts field. So we know for sure areas like history, English, and world languages would be included, and you know, maybe even some more content areas. So if you want to be notified when this program becomes available, or your teachers do, again, just please don't hesitate to email me. We're super excited to launch this program. That's it, short and sweet.
Okay, questions? Does anyone want to unmute and ask a question of Trish? I would just like to say, you know, for some of you that have not participated in STEM Teach, just be reminded it's a 2-step process. Your teachers apply, and then they're checked out and approved. Then once that happens, then they're able to register for the classes. And so this window coming up, Trish, is for taking in applications, right?
Yep. We're open through October 30th for all applications, and then registration for that spring winter semester will be in mid-November.
Sandy, there's a couple questions in the chat. People want to know what Trish's email is, or STEM Teach. Oh, yep, Kylie got it. Kylie answered it. And then they're wondering if a newsletter could come out with STEM Teach opportunities. So Trish, do you want to talk about how you can sign up for the STEM Teach newsletter?
For sure. You just go to the website, and on the main homepage, you scroll to the bottom and you just fill out your information and submit, and you'll be on our newsletter.
Okay, and then if Kylie can put in the chat box a reminder what that stemteachindiana.org address is, as well as Trish's email address. I do know I finally have learned how to spell Trisha's last name. It's got a lot of interesting letters in it, and I can do it now, Trish. So anyway,
Just add me to your contacts, and then as soon as you type WL, I'm usually the only one that shows up.
that's good advice. Okay, any other things in the chat there, Kate? Are we good?
No, Kylie got them handled. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Trish, thanks for being here, and we really appreciate all the work that you do to help get our teachers credentialed and to promote STEM and soon to be liberal arts dual credit too. So,
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Well, we are getting ready to move into our next school showcase, and we are happy to say Ricky's up. For those of you who aren't Purdue fans, you probably won't appreciate the Ricky's up, but I kind of think it has a nice ring to it. But Hobart University High School is a remarkable place up in the region, and that was our last in-person endorsement visit that we did in March. And when you go into the school community and into the school, you just know Ricky's rule. I mean, the t-shirts, just the promotion that they do is just incredible. So today we have their leadership team with us. We have Dr. Peggy Buffington, who's their superintendent, the biggest cheerleader ever for early college. And we have Mrs. Danielle Adams, who is their director of counselors and also is very instrumental in what happens in that school building for early college students. And then the director of secondary curriculum is Tim Krieg. And he is also, I don't know who's the biggest cheerleader there, but he's pretty much out there with the pom-poms too. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim. I'm going to stop sharing. And Tim, if you can bring up your screen, and off we go.
All right, cellmates. If I see a smile, then I assume that means that you can hear. So that's good. And then if I see another smile, then perhaps that means you can see the screen.
Yep.
All right. I apologize. I don't know if Dr. Buffington will be able to hop back on or not. She had to hop on to a superintendent meeting here. As you all know, busy, right? But she's our biggest cheerleader and certainly couldn't do any of this without her. And so Danielle and I are on the line. And so here we are, you're right. We are Hobart University at Hobart High School in the school city of Hobart. And it's our absolute privilege to be sharing with all of you. As you can tell, you gotta have the swag, right? You gotta have the gear, and you gotta market yourselves, right? And in the notion of school choice and all the different options that kids have, Dr. Buffington has said that COVID and all the things that have gone on here perhaps have streamlined big time changes that were long time coming to education anyhow. And so obviously we want to put ourselves on the map and do anything we can to try to give kids opportunities. And so that's what we're so excited about with Hobart University and our partnership with CEL, in particular also with Ivy Tech. So there we are. There's some of our favorite kiddos there that many of whom either did or are earning an associate's degree while in high school. So that's pretty neat. So here we are. Here's our Bitmoji versions of ourselves. And so I won't spend too much time here, but we are your tour guides. And so welcome aboard. As we all know, in the time of COVID, we can hit the road. But we don't need a hybrid Prius like my wife drives to get good gas mileage, because we can travel virtually, right? So here we are, we're on the road and we're headed up to the region. And there we are the school city of Hobart, in the city of Hobart, which is in Lake County, which is part of what we call the 219 or the region. So we joke that we get Chicago news and Chicago sports and all the rest. We're on Central Time up here. And so we're about 30 miles from Chicago. You can get to Michigan in 40 minutes or so. So here we are, let's hop in. And We don't have a billboard yet, but Dr. Buffington does have connections. And so here's our virtual billboard, but we'll see in the days to come. Just wanted to give a brief little introduction here on a little on our school community demographically. So you can see there are population estimates, almost 28,000. You can see our demographics there. And so, 83.1% white alone, followed by 12.6% Hispanic or Latino, 7.4% Black or African American alone, 3.6 two or more races, 1.6 Asian alone, 0.8 American Indian, and Alaska Native alone. Interesting to see the civilian labor force total percent of population age 16 years or older, 59.3%, a median household income as of 2018 of a little over 57,000, excuse me, and then the persons in poverty percent at 13. You are correct, Sandy, that we are the Brickies, and you will see a lot of purple and gold everywhere. It's our favorite color, purple. We have 6 schools in our district. As of the 18-19 school year, 4,103 students. When we say 13% poverty, I think it's important to also note that, that doesn't account for our free reduced lunch percentage, which pre-COVID was 48.1. But who's to say post-COVID? There's our site. You could visit that. I also put a PDF link to this presentation in the chat box, but I'm sure Sandy will send that out as well. A couple other little notes here for the targeted school population, and then I'm going to turn it over to Danielle. So you can see that 90% of persons ages 25 and older possess a high school diploma or higher in our city. The second one is very interesting because you're starting to look at the percent of persons 25 years or older who possess a bachelor's degree. And so you can see that that's 21.3%. When Dr. Buffington took over as superintendent, I think she said it was more so like 16% or 12% or so. When Danielle took over in her role was about 16. So we are seeing that number go up, which is good. But the latter 2 points there, we want to make sure we highlight what we're doing through Hobart University and our partnership with Cell and Ivy Tech and Purdue and company is we're changing that, right? And so we were teed up really well by Carrie talking about changing, workforce demographics and things of that nature. IBM says there's no such thing anymore as white collar and blue collar alone. But there's also something called new collar, right? And the merging of professions and things of that nature. Obviously, there's a lot of research out there on that. So what we're excited about is that all 9th grade students at Hobart High School through Hobart University earn at least 1 dual credit right out the gate through participating in IVYT 111. The student success and university transfer. And so we're basically eradicating this notion of I'm not a college student, right? Or I didn't have anyone in my family that has gone to college and so forth. And we're saying, well, that doesn't have to remain the case, right? And so probably the most exciting thing, and you can hear a train there, we are known for our trains as well, is that 100% of our Brickies have opportunities for success. We're all about voice and choice. As was mentioned in our prior presentation by the Career Center, we too are looking at different ways to disaggregate our data because we are taking the whole school approach with our early college model. So we're using 5 labs as of last year to start to disaggregate our data and look at those underserved student population groups within this whole school model. And then we're excited to be setting some goals for student groups accordingly. And obviously that aligns with ESSA in our MTSS plans. So with that in mind, Danielle, you want to take it away?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Tim. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Adams. I'm the Director of Guidance here at for School City of Hobart. I'm the Director of School Counselors. I am housed at Hobart High School, so I'm mostly here. You can't hear any trains from my window, but you can definitely hear them from Tim's. So pretty cool stuff going on over here. We've had pathways in place since 1999, and we started with Project Lead the Way. I didn't start here until 2012, and our partner at that time, they were Purdue University North Central and then IU Northwest. And so we were doing what Tim calls random acts of dual credit, and not really focusing on a particular pathway. In 2017, we began the transition to Ivy Tech as our higher ed partner. Lots of meetings with them to figure out which way we wanted to go and what we wanted to offer. Obviously, we started with looking at the STGEC, or as I like to call it, St. Jack, and then also looking at the associate's degree option for students. In those meetings, we talked a lot about high wage, high demand careers, and we had some industry partners who reached out to us to start some of those programs. And so those specific ones are our energy technology program, which we'll talk a little bit about, and then our medical assisting program, which was a local hospital had reached out to us saying that they needed more medical assistance. This also came around the time that graduation pathways began. And so for us, it was trying to look at what our career interests were of students and how we could help them get CTE concentrators, but also to meet that dual credit for bucket 3, where it's the 3 dual credit classes on that transfer. So for us, that was really trying to make sure that we had lots of opportunities to meet all of our student needs. And so Tim, as the director of curriculum, did a ton of work with the course articulation. Our Ivy Tech partners are fabulous, so they helped us out a lot with those course shells and Canvas and helping our teachers get their curriculum maps ready so that they were providing rigorous dual credit opportunities for our students. We are constantly expanding what we offer, and you can see a picture of our pathway and course description guide there on the right, and that is linked on our website if anyone's interested in looking at it. We are constantly working with partnerships and trying to promote our brand. You can see, hopefully in my background, I've got my Hobart University painting back there. I've got my HU shirt on, and you'll often see a lot of our kids wearing those same items. So Hobart University is something known throughout our district and talked about, so that's pretty cool. Some of those programs that we have, we've been working, we always joke that we've had some, I'm trying to think of what the right word is. Some points have been a struggle with some of our cohorts of students, learning to get them to understand the college going culture and working with them to understand what it's like to be on a college campus and taking college courses. So we've learned a lot throughout the past couple years on building up our cohorts of kids who are working towards these pathways. So
labor of love. How's that?
Yes.
Hey, and just so you guys know, if you click this, then it'll directly send you right out to that wonderful career pathway and course description guide that Danielle and company work so hard on.
Tim is quite the PowerPoint man, so if you need any help, he's your guy. And so Tim's running the screen here, but I'll have him open up some of these things that were worked on during COVID time. But we've got a college planning guide where we're really trying to reach out to students that they can look through this guide. It's pretty big. It's probably 80 some pages, but just trying to go through that process so that kids can learn this on their own, but then they'll also receive this information from the counselors as we do presentations and during our resource period time. So that information is available to our kids. And then back on the slideshow, we also very much want to promote that any post-secondary plan is a good one. And so we do have apprenticeship options as well. And these are pretty big up here in Northwest Indiana. And so this is our newest guide on how to approach these trade careers. And then as you scroll down, you'll see different careers that are available. And then if there's like an Ivy Tech credential that goes along with it, that is also available on this document. So these are just some of the resources that we give to our kids so that they can explore careers after high school, but also focus on the credentials that they may need to get to those careers.
And I'll just say on behalf of Danielle that I think those are two really good examples of how all of us have tried to find silver linings behind the pandemic, right? And so this is something that she, had really been working on dating back to the spring, to just try to find ways to continue to communicate these things to our students. Because to Danielle's point, when you think about culture and climate and things of that nature, it's not something that happens overnight, right? So when we reflect on our college going culture, it really does start with our youngest brickies. And you'll see there, I appreciate the kudos by Danielle. If I were to show you our early learning center, we have all of our kindergartners who we do presentations on Hobart University to. If I were to show you their version of all this stuff, it would have a lot of minions on it and rocket ships and all kinds of fun stuff there, right? Because it really does start with our youngest brickies. And so 529 plans are one such way that we do big launches with those, and just trying to think about the mindset of, yeah, I have short-term goals and there's the right now, but then there's also the planning aspect where, we don't want people to be in a position where, who knows how much college is going to cost in, 16, 17, 15, however many years from now. And so that's a big thing for us that we do, even with our kindergartners. This is a highlight of the year. We hope we can do it this year. The fourth graders, normally we will go, and our board and central office on the first day of school will go to every single building and go into every single classroom, and we say hello to everybody. And Dr. Buffington, specifically with the fourth graders, will say, I have a big surprise for you. And the big surprise is that she takes them on a tour of Hobart High School and gives them all a Hobart University shirt at the end. And guess what? Those kids become your biggest promoters. And, several years ago when we started this effort, I wore a Hobart University shirt to CVS, and I was picking up something. And the person was like, well, what is that? Is that a joke? And I said, no, like it's a real thing, And so at the time they thought, it was a joke, it didn't exist or whatever. And now 4 years later, however long it's been, you see Hobart University shirts everywhere. And Sandy's right, it really is starting to become built into our culture, and that's exciting. You'll see those employability skills are built into our frameworks, our scheduling at all levels. Danielle can talk more about this, but another silver lining of COVID has been we've really started to incorporate student professional development. And we do that in a vertically articulated way. So at the high school, this is normal for them, right? At the high school, they have power hour and time built in for these things. But we also have it now in homerooms at the middle school, and even now at the elementary level. At the middle school, Danielle works with them, the counselors down there. We have a CCR class that Danielle goes to as well. They do college visits. It's College Go Week right now. We all know that. They're even doing virtual visits, parent nights, orientations, you name it. I do PSAT, parent nights, workshops, things with Khan Academy, things of that nature. We're all about goal setting. Everybody knows what a SMART goal is, but a lot of people don't talk about, flex goals, which are where you think about, a little bit outside of your reach, and obviously making that obtainable. IVYT 111, you are a college student, right? By the time you get to high school, it's like, no, you can do this. You are a college student. You're going to see banners everywhere. You got to have what the kids call the swag. And then also we are fortunate to have a college coach through Ivy Tech at our campus. This is a little bit of another example of the college going culture. So, we have students that are applying what they're doing through things like Cart Club and autonomous vehicles that they're creating and racing, and these blended classes that they're taking, and Innovate Within. We got first and second place this last year. These are kids that are partaking in our dual credit classes. The success stories from Ivy Tech, those are 2 Hobart graduates that, they were earning all those college credits and so forth in high school, and then they're reaping the benefits of that thereafter, right? And then this is from the high school course description guide. So you can see here what this looks like. Elementary K-5 is about awareness. Middle school K 6 through 8, is about exploration. High school 9-12 is about preparation. There's obviously that technical side of things, the professional side of things. And it's all about not just college and career readiness, but we like to say life readiness as well. So rigorous instruction wise, when you think about this, I won't steal Danielle's thunder here, but we really all are about, building college and career ready brickies one college credit at a time. And so I'll save the little graphic there on the right for Danielle to talk about. But, all schools within the school city of Hobart are fully STEM certified by the IDOE. We utilize gradual release of responsibility, which is a big part of what creates that rigorous instruction and better equips students for the realities of 21st century education, which involves, we don't use these terms, but we know what they are: synchronous and asynchronous, blended classes, traditional course offerings, those kind of things, that are obviously making it to where it'll be a much more seamless transition, especially because of what's going on with COVID. You see more departmentalizing, co-teaching, team teaching at all levels, going all the way down to kindergarten, first grade. We have that now. So it's not just I have one teacher, right? We have kindergartner kids now who are going from one Canvas class to the next as e-learners right now. And those are things that are going to reap the rewards of that in the years to come. I talked about Ivy Tech College Coach on campus. If we have to do a faculty on loan, we do it, right? Because we want opportunities for our kids. We heavily utilize workplace specialists for CTE courses. Danielle talked about it. We even in the spring, we called it the marvelous month of May, did 18 hours of staff PD. And we even have elementary teachers who are now using a syllabus, and they build those into Canvas and so forth. I talked about the workshops. We use Canvas as our LMS district-wide. So does Ivy Tech, so that makes it super seamless on that regard. And then all of our students are one-to-one with technology, and we have a ton of tech tools out there, which makes it a lot easier as well. So Danielle, you want to talk about employability skills?
Yep, I will. So this is obviously the employability skills poster from the IDOE and the DWD, but this is something that we are incorporating into our curriculum this year on a more purposeful basis. So at the high school level and at the middle school and at the elementary, we do have time like a homeroom type setting. And so at the high school, it's twice a week. And so once a week, we focus on employability skills. And what we're doing with that is having usually an administrator or staff member do a lesson, somewhat of a shorter video explaining one of these employability skills. And then the students are to talk about it with their teacher in the classroom. And then on Wednesdays, we use that time for wellness and social emotional learning. So just really trying to be a little bit more deliberate about getting this information out to kids and why this information matters. And kind of like I alluded to earlier, when we had struggles with some of these early college kids, trying to get them to understand these exact type of things, we just had wished that we were putting that into our curriculum first. And so just trying to be a little bit more preventative. On the next slide, this is more of our support for student success. And so you can see on the right is a grid that comes from our high school counseling department. So we are working on our ASCA ramp certification this year and applying for that. And so we have more of a focus on trying to get out into classrooms and think more from a tier 1 curriculum standpoint. And so the counselors, as of 2 weeks from now, will have finished 77 classroom presentations, both on welcoming back students and talking about the opportunities here at the high school and with Hobart University, and then focusing on suicide prevention during this month. So you can see what our plan is for that throughout the school year, and then what small groups we'll be running in our individual goals. But as a district with our early college students, we have MTSS district-wide plans, and then wraparound services involving our Career Center, our EL Consortium, and then our Special Ed Co-op. We have grade level PLCs where teachers are getting together and talking about kids and how to help them be successful. And we use data trackers so that teachers can put information in there, and that information can be analyzed by administrators as well as our central office staff to see how things are going. We do use 5 labs for our disaggregation, and what's really cool, and Tim mentioned this earlier, we now have an equity dashboard, and so we'll be able to go on there and make sure that we're serving our students as we should be, and just being able to kind of check that, which I really like. And then we'll also be able to have a dual credit early college dashboard that will help us see a little bit quicker how kids are doing in terms of earning college credits and being on track to qualify for those college credits. Every level, we have routine counselor and admin meetings. We have cabinet meetings with Dr. Buffington every 2 weeks. And in those meetings, she is reiterating the early college model to all of our building principals to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. And then we're getting that information out to students through that student PD, which, as I mentioned, at the high school, we call it Power Hour. And then at the middle school, it's homeroom. And then the elementary does community circles. So we're all speaking the same language right around the same time so that everyone's talking about it at the same time. And then we do use Zoom as our method of working with the kids at home. And so the counselors are able to still talk to kids via Zoom. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we do have 2 early college coaches, and that has been tremendous in terms of support, because we have one specifically for our energy technology program, and that is someone who's making sure that the kids are doing what they need to be on campus. But then we also have one who's assigned to our kids who are getting their associates or their STGEC. And just that collaboration piece of having an expert who's able to do course audits for them and tell us when kids are struggling, and that part's just amazing. So some of our numbers I'll go through later, but we have 64 seniors right now that are on track to get their STGEC or associates, and just being able to communicate with those kids and have someone from Ivy Tech who's able to help them has been amazing.
Danielle, can you, real quick, we had one question. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit more about the early college dashboard and what you plan to put in there?
Yeah, so, oh gosh, I have a lot of things I want to put in there, and I keep asking. So we focus on one area at a time, so that the dashboard is really cool. You can look at your demographics by each school, and you can drill down into those demographics. We just were able to finish a graduation pathways dashboard, and so the next step is to finish the early college. And the idea would be that you'd be able to go into an early college class in the dashboard and see which kids are on track and have met the prerequisites for the class, and take that information to be able to help us move a little bit quicker in terms of not credentialing kids, but qualifying kids and getting them enrolled in the classes that they should be. And then we'll be able to look at numbers of kids enrolled, who's on track for the STGEC, and just be able to have that data at our fingertips will be nice. And that equity dashboard will play into that to be able to show us our demographic breakdowns, but also are those students being served in early college.
And Danielle, what platform do you use for that?
It is called 5 Lab, and it's like through Forecast Analytics. I know I'm probably not the best person to speak about that side of it, but it merges and it talks to Skyward.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Forecast 5
Yeah.
analytics. Yeah.
I know how to use it, but that's about it.
That's it. Thank you.
What's really cool about it, what I like, is that they're very open to building dashboards for us that we are asking for. And so they set up time with us to find out how to pull that information from Skyward to be able to do that for us. And it's also really pretty. So when you go in there, you're able to see bar graphs, and they're all different colors, and you can drill down into the data. So.
And your business department has probably been using Forecast 5 or something like it for a long time. This is just a feature of that we're all excited about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Danielle, how about partnerships and collaboration?
All right, so I mentioned earlier some of our programs, and I felt like I should probably elaborate on what we do have. So we offer an associate's degree, we offer the STGEC, we offer an associate's or technical certificate in energy technology. And so that program came through from basically NIPSCO, which is our energy supplier up here in Northwest Indiana, invited our superintendent and middle school principal to come see their lab. And so this is kind of where this was built. So we have students going through this program. It's a 3-year program here at the high school, and we're in our 3rd year. So this will be the first year that we have graduates from that program. And so that one's just really exciting. So that's obviously a local partner, and we also just won an award for that program that through NIPSCO. And now I'm going to jump back up, but we also have a program through Community Healthcare System and Ivy Tech, which is our medical assistant program. So the CEO of St. Mary's Hospital had reached out saying that they needed more medical assistants. And so that's another one of our community partners, but they also help us find programs for CNA. They help our EMT program that we have here through our Career Center, and they allow our students to do internships with them, not during COVID, and do visits so that students who are interested in the healthcare field can go visit and see what all the options that they have. And then we also have an early childhood certificate program and business administration options. So just a couple of our other collaboration and partnerships. We're part of Ready NWI, which is a consortium of all the schools up in this area and also the higher ed partners. So getting together once a month to talk about kind of current events and just how everyone's dealing with things. And then that's also like a source of professional development for this area. So it's really a cool thing, lots of networking. So I already talked about our college coach, so I won't do that again. We are fortunate enough to have the Bricky Clinic on our campus, which is a healthcare clinic through our local hospital. So it's on the Hobart High School campus. And so you can see that flyer on the right. We unfortunately were not able to have that dedication because of COVID, but we have a beautiful new facility as well as a new pool that is connected to the Bricky Clinic. We partner with our local career center. We're in Lake County, but we partner with the Porter County Career Center. And so we send our students to them, but then they also send students from the other Porter County schools to our high school. I already talked about Canvas. Tim can talk about Cengage in probably just a moment. We also have reached out to other Ivy Tech campuses to help with some of our programming. So this year we needed a graphic design teacher, and the Northwest campus of Ivy Tech does not have anyone for that. So we're working out of South Bend for that one. And so that's definitely been an interesting partnership. And then I know the question in the chat box about the career interest survey, Tim can probably open that up and show you. We utilize Indiana Career Explorer, but we also use the survey that was created to try and figure out what kids' interests are and make sure that we're meeting their needs with our programming.
Yeah, so we did do work-based learning WBL as a blended class. We're not doing it this year, but one of the things that we really tried to do was try to get a feel for not just what students' interests were and so forth, but then also what we wanted to do was we ended up linking them to an actual community partner based off of how they answered each of these questions. So you'd have to kind of take this as a student per se in order to see what the options are. But basically it takes like a deductive approach or like a backward design approach to say, like, let's think big picture, and then, okay, let's zero in on these X number of fields of interest then, and then let's zero in on the path that you would go to get there. And then the WBL side of it, we literally had an exported spreadsheet with community partners linked up to every single one of those areas that we could then set that student up in an internship, externship, and this is pre-COVID, or just a site visit, things of that nature. So I've made a copy of that for some people. If you follow up, I could make a copy of that for you as well. So I have like a non-Hobart one of these that doesn't have like our specific partners attached to it. The other thing that I will say real quick is we're one of the first schools in the state, I think, that's really gone with the Cengage subscription, which enables us.
That is not true.
Okay, so what I meant by that was to say that Cengage has a new subscription for high school grades 9 through 12 students, where it's $20 a kid to have access to everything in their college side, everything in their career side. And so our rep, Ian, he's amazing, Ian Leonard, we've really been a guinea pig with him. And I know there's some Fort Wayne schools and some others that are really getting into that as well. And there's some of us that have kind of taken that dive, but it gives you access to like all of these higher ed techs for $20 a kid without, long-term agreements and adoptions and things of that nature. So more to come on that. As far as leadership and staffing is concerned, continuity of leadership is huge. Dual credit reimbursement programs, we could talk more about that with you. But we have agreements with our teacher association to incentivize and reward teachers who meet HLC guidelines. Many of you know from the financing side of things that we were very much strapped for what we could do for teachers who went on to earn a master's degree, just because of the way that things worked at the state level. But there's now availabilities. Some people are doing stipends. We're not. We have teachers that have gained credentialing that we've paid for in an agreement, partially through Title II funds, that they then get a $5,000 a year, add-on. So, all kinds of stuff. CTE, workplace specialists, like Danielle said, faculty on loan. And then I would just say an all-in mentality. So as an example, our director of HR teaches an accounting class for dual credit because he's credentialed to do it. Our director of IT teaches a networking class through the Porter County Career Center for our students and others. And then I teach a capstone class for our students earning an associate's degree. In other words, we're not against anybody and everybody hopping on and helping out. So this is probably, in closing here, our favorite slide that Danielle will lead us through in closing.
Yeah, so we increased our number of students served in the last year. Some of our additions of dual credit teachers and new dual credit courses, we're making sure that we included our Career Center partner, but we have added a couple courses throughout here at the Hobart University. And then one of the best things is being able to be at graduation and announce the number, like the amount of money that we saved, and the number of credits that the class of 2020 earned, or class of 2019. And so on the next slide, you will see, if you go there, part of our graduation program, we had 235 seniors earning college credits, 4 earned their associates. I think we ended up with closer to 12 earning their STGEC. And then we had 167 seniors who earned 15 or more college credits. And then the total number of credits for the class of 2020 was 5,568. And then you can see their total savings. And those students wear sashes that say early college on those, and you can see those in the picture. And so they get to stand up at graduation, and there's, most of the seniors are standing up at that point. And it's just a really cool feeling, and it's amazing how when you promote this and you let them decorate themselves with this, they're all asking, how do I get dual credit and how do I become a part of this? So really fun stuff going on here, and if anyone has questions, we would be more than happy to answer.
Okay. Thank you for putting the contact information up there. One of the great things when you become endorsed is you get asked frequently to make presentations for SEL, and now one of the additional great things is you may get some contacts from some of the people here today. And I just want to say these two guys are wonderful collaborators. You ask and they will share and they will provide. So can you guys hear me? Yes, okay. My internet is doing weird things right now. So we have one comment here in the chat. Yeah, we've got the email going. So, okay. All righty. Well, if you will unshare your screen, thank you, Hobart University, so much for an amazing presentation and for all the great work that you're doing. So we have our next presenter, our third presenter, and let me get my screen shared here. We are thrilled to have with us today one of our cellmates, and that is, Kate Kaufman. And Kate will be presenting on the on career and college and career readiness. She comes to us from the Indiana Youth Institute, so she has a wealth of background there in college and career readiness. She also has a great higher ed background because she worked at Franklin College for many years. So Kate, if you're there, if I'll stop sharing and it's your turn to get your presentation up.
Great, thanks, Sandy. I'm also sending it to everyone as a Google link so that you can access it later, because I have some links that might interest you and some contact information for some people at the end. Can everybody see my PowerPoint? Okay. So Sandy asked me to talk about college and career readiness, and I'm sad that I'm going after Hobart because they do such a good job. I think they stole a little bit of my thunder, but so there's a few things I'm going to mention that they mentioned too, but that should be okay. So pre-COVID, if you know anyone who works at high school right now or anyone who works at a college, we're all pretty exhausted. Pre-COVID, it was challenging, and then COVID just threw a complete wrench into it. But I'm going to talk a little bit today about what's making it challenging on the college side, what can you do as you're helping to prepare your students, and some things to focus on. With 20 minutes, I can't really touch on everything, but I wanted to highlight some of the things that have drastically changed during COVID, or some things that are really concerning data points that you could help move the needle on with your students. So the pre-COVID landscape, colleges were really struggling for enrollment. The birth rate is down nationally and in Indiana. So for those of you who are kind of in smaller towns, you're seeing that. Your population is aging, and there's just not as many high school graduates right now. We're also seeing a declining interest in international students coming to the US for higher ed, which is actually a good thing for our students because some of our state schools were admitting a lot of international students, and it was making it more competitive for domestic students. And they're also struggling right now to get visas. The federal government, even pre-COVID, cut the number of student visas they were issuing to countries like China and India by almost half. The student loan debt crisis was a concern for everyone. Really, it had escalated to a point where the average student loan debt right now is about $30,000 per student. But at the same time, tuition keeps rising because we have aging college campuses, so they have to sustain those physical plans and pay staff, rising healthcare costs. So tuition really wasn't going to come down at any point soon. And then probably one of the biggest things that has changed the college landscape right now is that the Department of Justice actually sued the National Association of College Admission Counseling and its member colleges. And as a result, after several years of arguing that, everyone decided to settle last year, and it changed a few things. So there used to be a universal deadline of May 1st that students had to pay their college deposit. We're no longer on the college side allowed to do that. We also can recruit students after May 1. So if you knew a student had committed to a school, you couldn't actively continue to recruit them. Now they can, which can mean for your students additional financial aid and things. So there's just a little bit more wiggle room, and that window to apply to college and accept your college just keeps expanding for students. At the same time, students were pursuing more career technical programs, certifications in high school were increasing. So some of those students weren't looking for four-year college or even two-year college after high school. Affordability of community college and certificate programs was really attractive when you look at the cost of what a four-year college and the debt might be. And then there's new accelerated programs and competency-based programs coming at every time. So all of that was just making college readiness challenging because there's just so much happening on that landscape. Well, then COVID hit and campuses and workplace closed, so you couldn't take your students on tours. You didn't have them in your buildings. They couldn't finish their work-based learning or their internships. SAT, ACT, certification exams were all canceled. So for students who were seniors and hadn't taken a test yet, that was really concerning. Or for your juniors who hadn't taken a test yet. Campuses are still closed right now in many cases to visitors, although some of them are opening up in limited numbers, and we're going to talk about that. And then people, parents are wondering, is it really worth paying the cost of a college tuition if my kid is going to be sitting here at home taking those college classes or just sitting in their residence hall? And so people were already questioning the value of a college degree, but now they're doing it even more. So what does that mean for you as educators? What can you do to prepare? And there are a variety of things. So I think one of the biggest things that is changing right now is the SAT, ACT, and test optional. Our state is putting a lot more weight on these assessments, while nationally colleges are actually moving away from them. So the cohort of your current sophomores are going to be the first cohort under the new graduation pathway diploma requirements that they have to take the SAT. And while DOE hasn't issued a lot of guidance, I have the only guidance here linked to, it looks like next November, schools will administer it in school just like you do with the PSAT, and then that will be their graduation exam. And based on how that cohort performs, there'll be some benchmarks established, if not established sooner. But even though our state is now saying everyone should take the SAT, 450 plus schools have said, actually, we're not going to use the SAT or ACT for admission. And some of that is just this year. They're not using it while those tests have been canceled, but some of it is actually permanent changes. So IU, for example, has gone test optional. Ivy Tech is somewhat test optional. You can submit a PSAT, SAT, or ACT, but if you don't have an assessment, they have their knowledge assessment. And if anyone from Ivy Tech is on here, and I didn't say that accurately, please jump in the chat and share what you think is the accurate policy. And from what I can see on Vincennes' website recently, they are not requiring the SAT or ACT, but do have some of their own assessments when needed. So if your students need the SAT or ACT for the schools they are applying to, so for instance, Purdue is still requiring it, one of the things you could do is become a test site. And College Board and ACT are both looking for more schools to offer the test at their schools. So at the end, I have contact information for SAT and ACT. But I think if your students are struggling to get their tests taken and they're not applying to a test optional school, then becoming a test site can be helpful. I also have contact information at the end for the ASVAB contact for the state, but consider giving the ASVAB to your entire student body, or at least students you think are not going to pass the SAT or ACT, and by pass, I mean hit benchmark standards. The ASVAB was added to the graduation pathways not to be a test for everyone, truthfully. I mean, we wanted to help the students who were going to the military or who were going into other work-based options besides four-year college or two-year college, but it is a way to get students to pass that benchmark to qualify for their diplomas. The PSAT is going to be given to most sophomores and juniors this October, and there's a couple of things that you could be doing on PSAT Day. A lot of schools use that as a day to visit colleges, and with colleges not accepting those large numbers of visitors this year, you're probably looking for some things to do for your other students. If you're not going to have them in school that day, you could consider having your seniors complete the Common App or a college application and send you proof that they did it. You could have 11th graders not taking the PSAT participate in virtual college visits. A ton of colleges are offering them that day because they know Indiana schools are giving the PSAT. And you could have your 9th graders take a career assessment. So turning the PSAT date into kind of a virtual college readiness day is effective. What I've seen some schools do is in Canvas or your learning management system, actually create a course for each of your graduating cohorts. So a course for class of 2023, 24, 25. And in that, put some of these things, some of these college readiness or career readiness tips or activities for them to do to make sure that information is getting out to them in a way, if they're not in the buildings all the time, or if they're not able to be an advisory, if you guys are hybrid or virtual. The PSAT can be a really great tool for you for college readiness. A lot of people don't realize that when the students get the score back, there's a code on it that they can enter into Khan Academy, and they get customized test preparation for them. Not everyone loves Khan Academy, and I understand that. I mean, it's one tool we have. It's not necessarily the best tool, but if your student does enter that code and start doing that test prep, oftentimes they do see their scores go up. And so that can help them if you're using it as a graduation exam and as a accountability assessment to make sure your students are hitting those benchmarks they need for your school scores and for their scores. And you can also use those reports that you receive as a school to determine who's not meeting those benchmarks. They also put in that report something called AP potential, and that's who's ready for AP courses. That's a great way to look at who's ready for dual credit as well. I mean, we know we want dual credit to be accessible to everyone, but the PSAT is a great indicator of sort of who's ready for more rigor, and maybe look through your student body and see, okay, who's doing well, who didn't, who's not challenging themselves, who's maybe not taking that rigor, even though their scores are indicating they're ready for it. And low PSAT scores can also be an indicator that maybe some remediation needs to happen, and that you might need to intervene to make sure they are going to get their diploma. And so they might be a better candidate for a test like ASVAB or for a career pathway, although I think all students should be on career pathways. So how do they explore their options when the world is virtual? I would go to each college's website and see if they're offering in-person visits. If they are, students should definitely take advantage and try to get to go visit campuses this year. They're going to have to go in smaller numbers, but if you reach out, some schools are allowing smaller cohorts to come and visit. The hard part is when you get to campus, they just don't look like what they did a year and a half ago. There's very few students on the campuses. A lot of the classes are virtual, so campuses just don't have the feel that they had. So virtual events are a great way to go, and every high school has a admissions counselor assigned to them from local colleges. So reach out to your person. You can usually find it right on the admissions page. It says find your admissions counselor. If you click that, you usually can see who's assigned to that high school and schedule a virtual event with them. NACAC and Indiana ACAC are hosting virtual college fairs October 12th, 18th, and November 8th. So getting your students connected to those, there's hundreds of colleges participating in those. And then I've seen some really cool virtual events happen around the state right now. So I know many people are shifting their manufacturing tours and manufacturing days online and using virtual formats for those. Hobart mentioned Northwest Indiana. I think they did some really cool things this summer with their internship program and taking that virtual. So there's a lot of opportunity to move things online, but do it in a way that's going to kind of interest and engage students. And we know that's challenging, right? Everyone's tired of Zoom meetings, but we want to make sure they're still getting the information. As Hobart also mentioned, it's College Go Week, and there's a lot of virtual activities happening this week. There's also free applications. So if you go to this link, any of the schools whose application isn't normally free, but is offering a free application this week has a code that you can enter on the application to get it free. So it's a great week to get your students applying to their colleges because it can save them some money. One of the other things that was a big problem last year was because your students weren't in school with you in the spring, many of them didn't file their FAFSA. They just weren't hearing that messaging over and over that you're able to do on daily announcements and host those events that get them filing the FAFSA. But our partners at InvestEd, which is a not-for-profit here in Indiana that does happen to have a student loan, but they don't push that when they're doing their financial literacy work. InvestEd really partners with schools to get FAFSAs completed. So they're doing virtual financial aid events, and you can reach out to them to get them scheduled. I don't have their information on my contact slide, but if you need that, just shoot me a message. My email's at the end and I'll get that to you. College Goal Sunday, which is a free event where college and other professional financial aid folks come together and help your students file the FAFSA. is also going virtual this year. So the first date is going to be October 25th, and then they will be having a second date to be announced in February. And my understanding is they're just going to utilize Zoom and breakout rooms and put the family together with students to get that done. Sorry, I think I'm seeing there's some stuff in the chat. So for career exploration, the Indiana Career Explorer is still available right now. I'm not sure if all of you know, but it is going away in 2021. The state is looking for a system to replace it right now, and when we learn more, we'll share that with you, and we'll certainly make sure you're connected to any training opportunities. But it's a great tool to still use this year with students to help them explore careers, understand what education is needed post those careers. But Career One Stop is not an Indiana website, but it has great career videos. So if you're looking for something to show a student, and they have really like specific videos on very, micro levels. So I was very, we're always looking for kind of cool things to show students, and those are fairly new and up to date if you're looking for some. Sorry, my PowerPoint's not advancing. There we go. For those of you in the CTE world, we know that career and technical ed is being reevaluated right now pretty heavily, and there's some schools piloting new CTE courses, and those courses are going to have to come online next fall for everyone. So if you're not getting updates from the Governor's Workforce Cabinet and Tony Harrell's team specifically, definitely sign up for those, because they're going to be offering a series of workshops this spring for schools to understand those implementations. And also they're going to have a transition window where you can have old classes and new classes at the same time. So getting connected to those conversations and understanding really how we're going to implement Perkins 5 and the next level program of study at the same time is going to be critical for everyone. I follow some of the conversations that counselors are having on Counselor Talk, and I know there's a lot of frustration right now that you can't get a hold of College Board or ACT if you are a test site, that you're sitting on hold. So Karen Bush is Indiana's representative, George Schott is ACT's, Nathaniel Granberry is our ASVAB representative, and then Barbie Martin can help you with anything for 21st Century Scholars. That's my contact information. If you need anything, I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any in the chat. Sandy, do you see any?
Yeah, just one comment was made about 21st Century Scholars needing to take the SAT. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is true. So one of the 12 steps in the Scholar Success Plan is that they're supposed to take the SAT or ACT. So they will need to do that. Scholars will. So being a test site is a great suggestion. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, and then another question was about if the Indiana Career Explorer is going away. You know, there's a law that says we have to do career exploration. So do you know what?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the law does say that in the graduate, you're supposed to do the 4-year plans with your middle school students. So we don't have any answers yet as to what's going to replace Career Explorer. As soon as we do, we'll tell you. But DWD, who was paying for Career Explorer, no longer wants to. And I think until we have an appointed superintendent, DOE is not going to make a decision on purchasing something themselves. So I think we're looking at after the election and inauguration to the state election to determine kind of who the superintendent is going to be, and then we'll know more.
So you're feeling like something will be coming, but it may be kind of on hold for now.
It will, but it just creates, work for school counselors who've been using these programs or other college and career readiness teachers that, because you're going to have to create a new lesson for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did say we will no longer have Indiana Career Explorer. There's guidance on the DOE website that I'm happy to send you all that it's sunsetting in 2021.
A good suggestion there in the chat box from Patrick Biggerstaff over at Area 31 is just reach out to your CTE directors about the next level programming and course changes that are coming. Sometimes all the changes are just hard to grapple with, but we're all trying to do the right thing, which, is that I think it's by 2025, get 60% of our workforce with some sort of higher post-high school credential. And we've got, that's 5 years from now, so we have a lot of work to do. What other good questions coming here, but what other questions do you have for Kate? Okay, I'm seeing none. Kate, are you, is there any location, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but is there a location that lists all of throughout Indiana virtual college field trips for all of the universities?
There's not necessarily that virtual field trips, but the College Go Week materials this week, the chart that has who is offering free applications also shows if they have a virtual tour. So you can kind of see if they offer a tour. And then most colleges are willing to set up a virtual event for your high school. So just like they would normally come visit to recruit in the fall, they're willing to set that up one-on-one and do it with your students via Zoom.
Yeah, I just see one popped up. We have
yeah, that's IU's.
Troy Byler from IU ACP. He just put the IU virtual field trip up there, or it's a, yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to the Learn More site, the Learn More Indiana site, and where they have all the College Go materials, there's a table, and it's got every college in Indiana listed, public and private, with several headings across the top, and it includes if they have a virtual tour, if their application is free, if they're discounting it this week, all of those things. And the link is in the presentation, and I put a link to the presentation in the chat.
Okay, any other comments? Either through the chat box or anyone. Yeah, Tim, how about if you just unmute and talk to us?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I've brought this up to the state board and what have you, but you shared so much good info. Here's our concern. Our concern is that, like you said, rightfully so, colleges, universities are taking more of a mixed methods or qualitative approach to acceptance, right? So it's not just your test scores, it's not just an index score, it's not just what's your class rank, what's your GPA, what's your SAT or ACT score. And so like all of our students have digital portfolios, and it's about showing, not telling, right? All that good stuff. But then meanwhile, the state is saying, which it's weird because now all of a sudden, our kids are going to take I-STEP again this year. But anyway, the state's like, oh, SAT is our new accountability assessment. But then, as I've said to the board, it's like, well, wait a minute. How does that make sense? Because there's so many ways for a student to fill bucket 3 with something, whether it's ASVAB or whatever, and yet the school is going to be accountable then for that one singular assessment that colleges are devaluing, not to mention there may be no direct incentive for the student if they have an ulterior way to fill that bucket. So I just didn't know, given your wisdom on all this stuff, if any of that's come up.
It has. I mean, while graduation pathways were being passed, that conversation was had numerous times. And then the last 2 years, ACT, College Board, and a variety of other organizations were submitting RFPs to become the state test. And those concerns were shared. SAT is definitely a test that higher income students tend to do well on. You can purchase test prep. Lower income students don't necessarily have those same opportunities, and that's why colleges are moving away from it. It doesn't feel as equitable as it could be. Same thing with ACT. College Board has put some things in place like Khan Academy and some other partnerships, but that's the deal that has been struck, and I think unfortunately is not going to change anytime soon because it's been kind of codified in state code. But there's a lot of people pushing back, and hopefully those conversations will continue with the new superintendent.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we hear that voiced frequently from principals around the state is what's going to motivate my students to want to do well on the SAT, when there are other ways they can graduate. So I'm sure it's a topic that the governor's office and DOE and all the structures, groups that exist and, what may get merged into new groups in the future, I'm sure they're going to have to deal with that. So, okay. Kate, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I think it got the wheels turning, about what we can do. What I would like, Kylie, have you put in the chat box our link for evaluation?
Yep, it's there.
There it is. So we'd like everyone just to take a moment now and go there. And particularly, we were going to work into breakout rooms, but time's not allowing us to do that. So be sure that you put some topics for future meetings, for our November meeting. Please enter topics of interest that you have. And then we'll give you just a couple minutes to do that, and then ask you to come back to this slide and we'll wrap up. Okay, as you guys are finishing that up, we'd just like to thank all the presenters today. Marvelous display of great work that's going on across the state. I do want to mention our upcoming events. When you become endorsed, then you're kind of in the elite group, and we have started doing a seminar called our EC Collective. And that is scheduled for October 28th from 9 to 11:30. And we really want our indoor schools to bring teams to that because there'll be a lot of good breakout sessions for teachers, for counselors, for principals. And the registration link, I will send that out to the indoor schools. Our next SAL networking meeting, we were hoping that it could be in person, but we are going to stay with a virtual format. So that is November the 18th. It's from 10 to 12, very similar to this. Normally at that meeting, for schools who are seeking endorsement, in the afternoon, we would do a little mini workshop just for those schools. But now, since we're all using Zoom, we will do that endorsement training as a shorter webinar geared just for that group of people seeking endorsement. So that means on the 18th, we can do a broader presentation of topics for everyone. And then, as I said, that webinar training for those seeking endorsement, we will send out information in the link to join in on that. So we still have just a couple minutes. Are there any final questions? Anyone who wants to unmute and ask a question, comments, anything, we're open to hearing. Okay. Well, we had great participation today and appreciate all of your attention. We know sometimes 2 hours is a long time to focus, but and we just from our hearts we say, carry on, be brave, take care of yourselves, and we will get through this, and better times are yet to come. So thank you all and have a great day.